Ona mugoma chale takura ishoko mopa mambokadzi mugoma chale takura ishoko mopa mambokadzi 1980 tombonyatsopfeka kupfeka pachuto nai nzira yatakutora ive nzira yemasoja yekuzvi hanzi kune nzira dzemasoja dzekuzvibata nadzo terera mitemoyo nenzira dzakanaka musave munotora zvinhu zvemasero dzorera zvinhu zvose zvatorwa kumuvengi aya ndiwo masoko akataurwa naye naivo vamao vachitidzidzisa usave munotora zvinhu zvemasero dzorerai zvinhu zvose zvatorwa kumuvengi aya ndiwo masoko akataurwa naye naivo vamao vachitidzidzisa musave munotora zvinhu zvemasero dzorerai zvinhu zvose zvatorwa kumuvengi vana vezimbabwe ndoti maswera sei ndine urombo nekunonoka kuuya kuzokurukura nemi naurwa ndinavo panapa the assassination of none other than Herbert Chitepo. Vakomana zvakaoma. I got the report. This is the report with the Zambian coat of arms. This report came a long way from Africa for the benefit of Zimbabweans. I'm so sorry that I came late, ladies and gentlemen. I was a bit tied up doing something else. Sunday. Mangwana makatarisana nekuenda kumabasa and so forth. Pane zvakawanda zvinoitika nai. Saka mana ndangoti handingarari ndisina kutaura sezvo ndapromisa ruzhinji rweZimbabwe vari kumativi mana enyika vari kunana DRC, Zimbabwe, wherever you are Zimbabweans, America, Australia, mutsai vakarara mutsai vakarara timbogadzirisa bareta timbogadzirisa exactly manje raita zvona nchida saka mutsai vakarara because I'm not going to repeat. This book is I'm going to serialize this report 30 minutes or an hour talking about the death of Herbert Chitepo. Takushika ndanzwana wachitaura rejoined ZANU-PF. This is 10 o'clock. So I'm going to talk about this for an hour. This is 10 o'clock. Those who can wake up or tag other people, tag ZANU-PF people. Because what I'm going to read here, it's very important. I'm going to read, analyze, and lead people to where exactly, to where we are exactly as Zimbabweans. Why is ZANU-PF killing people? Where did they learn this idea of killing people? This is a report made on the death of Chitepo, and there are guys who sacrificed their funds, their money, to have this report here. So they are going to have copies. I'm going to ensure we make copies of this report, and they are going to have their own copy. It's very unfortunate that if you need a copy of this thing, you have to pay something so that I make copies for you to get your copy, for you to read. I'm not going to give the copies for free. It's very unfortunate because I will be wasting my money to try and make copies of this report. So each and every person gets a copy. So if you want your copy, ensure that unondipawo mari yekunoita sei yekunoprindisa that copy. You understand? Unondipawo mari yekundikuitire copy rako nemari yekukusendera. You understand? So I'm not going to sell it, but I'm going to just say, if you want your own copy of the report to read on your own, undipawo mari yekugadzirisa that copy, undipawo mari yekukusendera that copy. But this copy harina kuya mahara. It was financed by certain individuals, and most of and the guy said, please don't mention us, just serialize it. When it comes, let me have a copy. So we have got the report now. So I'm going to look into this report. I'm going to read this report. Tichibatsirana, tinzwanani. On page, this is the first page of the report. It says, this is the first page of the report. But the first page of the report says, Republic of Zimbabwe. Sorry, Republic of Zambia. I'm just used to Zimbabwe because I'm too Zimbabwean. Republic of Zambia. Report of the Special International Commission of the assassination of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo. Lusaka, March 1976. This is the true account of how Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo was assassinated. Who is Herbert Chitepo? Who is he? Why would freedom fighters, why would ZANU forces, why would ZANU intelligence want to assassinate Herbert Chitepo? Why are they assassinating? Why did they assassinate him in the first place? Who was he? Who was he to the struggle of Zimbabwe? COVID. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Because this sneezing thing is coming with COVID in England. We're scared. So who is this man? Who was he? Why Republic of Zambia? A report of the Special International Commission on the assassination of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo produced. Why? Why was it produced in Lusaka, March 1976? Who was Chitepo? When did this Chitepo die? Why would Chitepo be assassinated? Where was he assassinated? And how Chitepo was assassinated? So this is the report that answers who was Herbert Chitepo, when was he assassinated, where was he assassinated, why was he assassinated, how was Chitepo assassinated, and who assassinated Herbert Chitepo. So we are going to hear it from this book. So we are, or I am going to serialize the report. I am going to make it short. 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, until we finish the whole report. We want everything to be clear so that people of Zimbabwe would understand why Chitepo would be assassinated. Who assassinated him? When was Chitepo assassinated? Where? How was he assassinated? So we are going to hear this from Herbert Chitepo. I'm so sorry to say, the time that I scheduled to start the serializing, I was tied up a bit, but good luck, I'm here. So this is the report here. If you see, Republic of Zambia report of the Special International Commission on the assassination of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo. Then the report goes on to say this. That was the first page. Commission on the assassination of Chitepo. P.O. Box LRW 464 Ridgeway, Lusaka. His Excellency Dr. Kenneth D. Kaunda, President of the Republic of Zambia, State House, Lusaka. So the first address, you know, this was written in 1976. The first address is the person who is addressing it. And it is addressed to His Excellency Kenneth D. Kaunda. Then his address was President of the Republic of Zambia, State House, Lusaka. Then it goes on to say, Your Excellency. It goes on to say, Your Excellency, by statutory instrument number 101 of 1975, Your Excellency appointed as commissioners to inquire into the events and circumstances surrounding the death in Lusaka on the 18th of March 1975. The late Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo, a leading Zimbabwean nationalist leader, and to investigate and establish other matters relating thereto as are contained in our terms of reference. My fellow commissioners, and I feel honored and privileged at having been appointed to undertake such an important task. We felt that this special international commission was a great significance, not only to Zambia, but to Africa as well, and to the world as a whole. We have the honor to submit our report herewith. I have the honor to be Your Excellency obedient servant, RC Kamanga, Chairperson. Herbert Chitepo was assassinated on the 18th of March 1975. And that same year, the Zambian president, Kenneth Kaunda, he activated a statutory instrument number 101 of 1975 and appointed a commission of inquiry to inquire into the events and circumstances that led to the death of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo in Lusaka on the 18th of March 1975. And the report is the one that I'm holding here, ladies and gentlemen. This report was published in 1976. And it was handed over to Kaunda by the chairperson of the inquiry, RC Kamanga. So that's the second page of the report. Right. In this report, ladies and gentlemen, the report has got a table of contents, which I will go through with you. So that table of contents simply means what are the contents of this report and where do you find them? So, first of all, there's a letter of presentation. Then secondly, there's a statutory instrument number 101 of 1975. Is read by the Zambian Constitution in 1976. introduction of the report states that the death of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo, then it went on to give a biography of Chitepo. It went on to establish how the commission was set up. It goes on looking at the composition of the commission. How was the commission composed? Who were the constituents of the commission? It looked into the swearing ceremony and the reception of commissioners. It goes on to state what languages the commission would use before hours of work were set up. That was the introduction. So the introduction looked into the death of Chitepo. The introduction stated clearly that this report is about the death of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo. This report goes on to look at the biography, the life history of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo, and how the commission was established, who were in that commission, the composition of the commission, which investigated or inquired on the death of Herbert Chitepo. Then the commission was sworn in, and the commissioners were received into Zambia. They stated clearly the type of language that they were going to use in the commission. Then hours of work were set, agreements made. This is about the report. Chapter 1 of the report, it looked at the procedure and methods of work, how these people were going to carry out their duties. How were they going to look into the matter? Procedures for obtaining of evidence were set. This is not a court, but a commission of inquiry to establish the truth how Chitepo was killed, who killed Chitepo. Then procedures and method of work were set in chapter 1. How they were going to obtain the evidence, we are going to read it in chapter 1. How were, in regard to adjournment, how were they going to do it if there was a quorum? Because the commission had to constitute a quorum before they start work. They ensured that a quorum has to be constituted before they start work. Commencement of investigations, they are all done in chapter 1. Then we go on to chapter 2. We are going to look at the historical background to the nationalist struggle of Zimbabwe. We are going to look at this historical background to the nationalist struggle in Zimbabwe. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no way you are going to get the truth of how Chitepo was killed through, besides this book, besides this report. We are lucky to have this report with us so that a true history of Zimbabwe is set. We are going to look into a true history of our country. So we are going to look at introduction of the book. We're going to look at chapter 1 of how Chitepo was assassinated. We will look chapter 2, the historical background of the nationalist struggle in Zimbabwe. Then we will look at the European settlement and establishment of African political parties, how these political parties were established. The Southern Rhodesia African National Congress, SRANC. What was it? Who were the people involved into this SRANC, Southern Rhodesia African National Congress? It was a political party which was formed in Zimbabwe. So from there, we are going to look at the National Democratic Party, the NDP, and the Zimbabwe Africa People's Union, a part known as ZAP. It was known as ZAP. Who were people leading that part? Who were they? Why would they lead those parties? So we are going to look into Chitepo and the ZANU-PF external wing. We are going to look into the inquests for unity. We are going to look into the African National Council, ANC. There was Southern Rhodesia African National Congress. Then there come African National Council. These are two different things. But it's ANC. African National Congress. Then there was African National Council. These were two different things. How did they differ? And we're going to look at the Lusaka Unit Accord. This is chapter 2. This is an interesting report. The truth of exactly what happened. Right? Then we go on to chapter 3. This book goes to chapter 9. But I will state what we expect in chapter 3. Chapter 3 is talking on page 10. They're talking about the organizational structure and operation of ZANU-PF. This was not ZANU-PF. I'm sorry, it was just ZANU. So we're going to look at the organizational structure and operation of ZANU. We're going to look at Dare Rechimurenga. What was it? Ndanzwa vanhu muchitaura kuti Rugare Gumbo rejoined ZANU-PF. Rugare Gumbo has got a lot to answer. Listen, gentlemen. Rugare Gumbo has got a lot to answer. Believe me, this book will expose him. Expose him a lot. It's very unfortunate. The people we call today leaders, president, vice president, this and that of Zimbabwe, they are not near mentioned in this report. They were not near formation of ZANU-PF. They were not near the struggle of Zimbabwe. These are just chancers. People who just came to be where they are today by chance. If you are not mentioned in this book, that means you did not take part in the managerial role of the struggle of Zimbabwe. So for them to lie to us, to say, look, we fought for this country, we died for this country, we did this and that for that country. Here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody said, Shepherd, you must put a CCTV around your house because zvigure zvevanhu vanhu ava vasi kuda kuti zvizikanwe izvo zviri mumareports. They just went there crying, Chitepo was a hero, Chitepo was a hero, crying woo, woo, for nothing whilst they assassinated Chitepo. So we are going to hear the truth about the assassinations in this book. Who was doing what? So in chapter 3, we're going to talk about Dare Rechimurenga. We're going to look at the conflicts and the power struggle within ZANU-PF. The same conflicts and power struggle which was within ZANU-PF are the same conflicts and power struggle which are now emerging from MDC. This is why I say there is a DNA, a ZANU-PF DNA in the people we call leaders. You can't call Vanamunzura a leader. You can't call Kupe a leader. But like a ZANU-PF DNA which came from far, came from the struggle of Zimbabwe. It was there during the war. This DNA. So we are going to look into that. So we are going to look into ZANU-PF and the Unit Accord of December 1974. There was a Unit Accord which was signed by ZANU in 1974. We are going to look into that. Very few people, ZANU-PF, they don't know this information that I'm going to serialize. I don't know how long, but I'm going to serialize this hour every day. So if you lose one, because after this, I'll download this, upload it on Facebook. So if you can't access it on here, go to Shepherd Yuda YouTube channel. You're going to listen to how Herbert Chitepo was assassinated. So in chapter 4, so I've said in chapter 3, we're going to look at the organizational structure and operations of ZANU. We are going to look at Darere Chimurenga. We're going to look at the conflicts and the power struggle in ZANU. Then we're going to look at ZANU and the Unity Accord of December 1974. From there, we go to chapter 4. So what I encourage people to do is, if you are bored with whatever I am going to read and discuss, you just turn off a little bit and wait for your favorite chapter, which will come. So in chapter 4, we're going to talk about the Nare Rebellion. People were saying, Shepherd, when are you going to resume the Nare Rebellion? Bagayu bomb, Bagayu bomb. People being shot at close range. People being murdered by ZANU-PF. People being killed by people we call leaders today. People who have got blood, their hands dripping with the blood. This is why you see abductions in Zimbabwe. This is why you see torture in Zimbabwe. This is why you see killings in Zimbabwe. It's because this is ZANU-PF culture of killing people. And it came from that far long, it came long time back when these people were killing each other. So we are going to see the Nare Rebellion. Nare Rebellion. From page 14, page 21, we will be talking about Nare Rebellion, which is chapter 4 of the report. What were the causes of the Nare Rebellion? We discussed about it last time. But now we are going to hear the truth about the Nare Rebellion. What were the causes of the rebellion? Nare group on the march to Lusaka. What happened? The arrest of the Nare group. Then, where were they taken to? What happened to the Nare group? Who were responsible for their arrests? Who arrested them? So from chapter 4, we will go into chapter 5. After the arrest of the Nare group, then we move on to chapter 5. Chapter 5 is going to talk about the aftermath of Nare rebellion. What then happened after the rebellion? Recapture of Chifombo by High Command. Chimurenga General Council at Chifombo. What were they doing there? How did they recapture? How did they recapture Chifombo? This High Command. Who were in the High Command? Who constituted the High Command? Why would they say recapture of Chifombo by the High Command? So we're going to look at the kidnapping of Made Kurozwa. Made Kurozwa. He was kidnapped. Who kidnapped him? All these kidnappings you see today, they did not start today. They started during the war. Abductions, killings, beatings, torture. ZANU-PF brought it to them. And this came from the war. It was a culture that they continued with after war. So, who was Made Kurozwa? Who was he? Why was he kidnapped? Who kidnapped him? Was he found alive? Where was he found? Who was behind everything? So we are going to look into chapter 5 to answer these questions. What was the composition of Darere Chimurenga and the High Command before and after the rebellion? Because we spoke about conflicts and power struggle within ZANU in chapter 3. Then in chapter 5, we're going to look at the composition of Dare. Dare was first introduced in chapter 3, and the Darere Chimurenga in chapter 3. Then there was a Nare rebellion which happened then. Then what was the aftermath of the Nare rebellion? and what was the composition of the Dare now, before the rebellion and after the rebellion. So we are going to look into that. This is clear. This is clear, ladies and gentlemen. It is laid down, well laid down. It is well laid down. So it's up to you to critically appraise this this literature. It's the truth of Zimbabwe. This is the truth that ZANU-PF would not want you to understand, to know. They don't want you to know this, but this is gonna expose a lot of people. Why would Rugare Gumbo rejoin ZANU-PF? Why would Joyce Mujuru rejoin ZANU-PF after the assassination of General Mujuru? Right. Because the secret of General Mujuru assassination, it was, they knew that if Mugabe dies, the vice president would automatically become the president of Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF did not want a woman to be president of Zimbabwe. So what did they do? They had to frame stories against Mujuru this, Mujuru that, until Joyce Mujuru was fired by Robert Mugabe. Robert Mugabe was too old to reason. As a result, he succumbed to stupidity. And a lot of people were laid off or were just chucked from ZANU-PF until now. So most of them are now rejoining ZANU-PF. Why would you rejoin ZANU-PF? So we will look into the aftermath of Nari rebellion, especially particularly on the composition of Dare and High Command before and after the rebellion. So we will go into chapter 6. Chitepo and his bodyguards. Who were Chitepo's bodyguards? What role did they play in the assassination? Did they help the assassination of Chitepo? Or did they try to prevent the assassination? Who was behind the assassination of Wiltshire? So we are going to look into this in chapter 6. Chitepo and his bodyguards. What happened? Chitepo went to Malawi. His trip to Malawi. What were the importance of Chitepo's trip to Malawi for it to be mentioned in table of contents? So we are going to look into Chitepo's trip to Malawi. What were the importance of that trip? Was that trip important, or was it a threat to other nationalists to the extent that when he returned back to Zambia, he was blown off, was assassinated? So on chapter 7, we're going to look, this is where exactly, that's where it started. The death of Chitepo on chapter 37. On chapter 7. So some people would say, leave the history, Shepherd, and let's jump straight to the death of Chitepo. I can start from exactly how he was killed on chapter 7, then do other serialization. But unfortunately, if I do that, people won't follow this story. So we want to develop the story gradually. What exactly transpired to the death of Chitepo. Right? So on chapter 7, this is where the death of Chitepo was discussed. Right? There is mention of Bishop Abel Tendekai Mzorewa. He went to Lusaka. What for? Why did he go to Lusaka? Bishop Abel Mzorewa. Planting of the bomb. This is when it was discussed on chapter 7. The actual planting of the bomb that blew Chitepo. How was the bomb planted? Who planted it? Why would they plant that bomb? When was it planted? Where was it planted? Exactly where and why? How was it planned? This is answered on chapter 7. Parikutaurwa pa chapter 7 regai nditaure nechishona. Parikutaurwa nezvekufa kwa Chitepo pa chapter 7. But zviri kunzi Bishop 𝗍𝗿𝗃𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗓 Muzorewa vakaenda kuLusaka, vakaenda kunotsvagira, vaidei kuLusaka, vakanga vadaidzwa here nani. Zviri kunzi apa pa chapter 7 ndo pane actual planting of the bomb that blew Chitepo's skull, that killed Chitepo. But vamwe vakafa ipapa ndava nani vakafa ipapa. Akanga aisa bhambo iri ndiani? Rini? Zvaita sei? Akarisa sei bhambo iri? So it's discussed on chapter 7. Chitepo killed in that bomb blast. Muswa 18 March 1975. This is when Chitepo was killed in that bomb blast. Akafa on the spot here. Akafa sei chichakanyanyoitika. Zvanozomanya kuti paputika bombo muLusaka, Chitepo wafa. Anditi mona. Saka tozobvapo toenda pa chapter 8. The burial of Chitepo. We are going to discuss the aftermath of Chitepo's death, starting from his burial. Kumakuva kune zvakaitika. Chii chakaitika? Unaona Chitepo akangofa ndokurova. Haana kana kumuka ngozi. Ameno. Ex-ZANU leaders on the run. After the burial ya Chitepo, my ex-ZANU leaders, they did not attend his burial. They went on the run. But surprisingly, 1980, takazwa kunzi bhodhi ngaiuye ya Chitepo. Chitepo ari kuigwa pairozeka. Vakuimba vaChitepo muchakabvu. Tinotenda nebasa ramaita. Tinotenda. Vachiviga Chitepo pairozeka. And they pretended to be innocent people. Whilst they buried the men they assassinated. Soon after assassination, Chitepo achivigwa, all ZANU PF leaders, I can't say all of them. Number ex-leaders of ZANU, they were on the run. Why? Hansi Tongo Gara startling revelations in Mozambique. The arrest of ex-ZANU members, who was arrested. Tazobva ipapo toenda ku chapter 9. Chapter 9 ndokwakapuwa the findings of the commission. What did the commission find? What did they found? Why is this report made? Did they find anything significant or nothing significant? It's discussed in chapter 9. The findings of the report. And it demands one. Then on the findings of the report, it is broken down into A, B, C, and D events. A are the events and circumstances of Chitepo's death. This could be a summary of the events and circumstances of Chitepo's death. B, facts of the surrounding Chitepo's death. Facts of and surrounding of Chitepo's death. But C, any possible involvement of racists or imperialists in the death of Chitepo. But D, identity and the motive of the assassination. So people can say, you can start on the motive and on the identity and motive of the assassination of Herbert Chitepo. Then chapter 10, recommendations as to the measures to protect persons engaged in political activities. Then it went on to acknowledge certain individuals. Appendix 1 was President Kaunda's message to the nation. Appendix 2 was list of witnesses. Appendix 3 Zimbabwe Declaration of Unity made at Lusaka, Republic of Zambia, on the 7th of December 1974. Appendix 4, Salisbury Declaration. Appendix 5, lists of commissioners. This is the appendix. So, for this report to make sense, I've told you the report on the death of Herbert Wiltshire Chitepo has got 10 chapters. It has got 10 chapters, this report. And this report was made by a commission appointed by Kenneth Kaunda in 1975 after Chitepo was assassinated. So we are going to look at, let me see, page 51, chapter 10, page 51, Regaiti Tower, page 51, appendix 5. Right, appendix 5, as I mentioned earlier on, it lists, it has got list of commissioners who were involved in the inquiry of how Chitepo was assassinated. Zambia provided Honorable R.C. Kamanga, member of the Central Committee of United National Independence Party. Panemo munaganti hazivi party ya Kenneth Kaunda odi yainzi chi. Kenneth Kaunda's party yainzi UNIPI, which means United National Independence Party. That is not the party running Zambia at the moment. This is the party that destroyed Zambia. So, the chairperson of that party in UNIP in 1975, he was Honorable R.C. Kamanga. He was also a member of the Central Committee with Party Iyoyo. He was a Central Committee member of UNIP. UNIP, U-N-I-P. U-N-I-P, which stand for United National Independence Party. It's a United National Independence Party. The president of this party was Kenneth Kaunda, who was the president of Zambia. So its chairman was Honorable R.C. Kamanga. Honorable R.C. Kamanga ndo wakave chairperson with this commission of inquiry. Zambia ikazopa futi Honorable M. Chona. Honorable M. Chona. Vakanga vari Minister of Local, was it Legal Affairs and Attorney General in 1975. This Chona, M. Chona, Honorable M. Chona, was also Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General in Zambia. Right? These were two provided by Zambia. Another country that provided two commissioners also was Botswana. It brought in Honorable A.H.C. Sukunyana. He was a member of parliament. Sukunyana. And he was minister, he was a member of Central Committee of Botswana Democratic Party. Unozama political parties in Botswana and massive. Sada kudzidza upano. Imichidzidzao. So Botswana kwakabva Sukunyana. He was a member of parliament and also member of Central Committee of Botswana Democratic Party. Then over Yapa Foot Ainz E. Legwaila was a senator ku State Council. Saka kwakabva two ku Botswana, two ku Zambia. Then Libya provided one commissioner. This guy was His Excellency Ishmael Sadiq Ben Ishmael. Ishmael Sadiq Ben Ishmael was ambassador. So Malawi provided one. Honorable A.E. Gadama, Member of Parliament, was minister without portfolio. I think this is during Kamu's Banda. Malawi Congress Party was in power in Malawi, and this was during Kamu's Banda era. And they provided one member, one commissioner, who was Honorable A.E. Gadama, was also a minister without portfolio in Kamu's Banda's government. Then Malagas. I think Malagas is Madagascar, if I'm not sure, but this is Malagas. I think it's the same country now called Madagascar. You can help me, ladies and gentlemen. You can help me. And nasingaone ma comments hey. Nasingaone ma comments. Anzi brother Yuda. But my comments angachipinda, sorry. I wasn't reading comments, but I can see a lot of Anzi mkoma adai machi streamer ku YouTube vasati vatanga kukukatai anambwa. I will definitely do that. 2020 ZANU-PF must go. Anzi mtambo watange takamirira washika. Ndo mtambo watatakamirira. Ndo report atatakamirira tese. And it manzwa. Saka ndikuona less comments. That means people are listening to what I'm talking about. So, Malagas, I think this is Madagascar. It provided one commissioner. And this commissioner was His Excellency H.J. Anzi Ratsimbazafi. I can't read this one. But, gatungo wirana epachishona nembachindevele. Kuti susu panema mazita dzimwe nyika tisingagone kupronounce. Saka ukana takuma pronounce like this, nongoti nini anonzi Ratsimbazafi. Ratsimbazafi. He was also an ambassador. Mozambique yakanga ina Mr Sergio Vieira, special assistant to the president. This was Samora Machel during that time. Then he was also OAU Liberation Committee. And then Zambia also provided Lieutenant Colonel Mbita. I know this name. Lieutenant Colonel Mbita was the executive secretary. Sierra Leone was also involved in this commission of inquiry. And it provided Honorable Mr. Justice SMF Kutuba was judge of the High Court. Somalia provided S. Sufi, charge of affairs. Then Tanzania provided Ndugu Bashoik, Masachoka Mikandadi, Inenge Mbuzi, a member of Central Committee of TANU. There was a political party in Tanzania known as TANU, just like ZANU, Zimbabwe Africa National Union. Then in Tanzania, there was a political party known as Tanzania African National Union. So it provided Nduga, Beshek, Mikadadi. Then it provided another commissioner, Ndugu, J.S. Warioba, Attorney General. This was a solicitor, I think. Then we go on to Zaire, which is DRC today. It provided His Excellency Bambo Larit Nyarende was ambassador. Then provided again Sitoyon Malangola Shambui was first secretary. So what I'm saying here, Madagascar previously Malagas. Thank you, Mkuma Wellington Sharon. Because I thought so as well. Very few people would know that Madagascar was Malagas. So that's Madagascar. So the countries which were involved in the investigation of Chitepo were Zambia, Botswana, Libya, Malawi, Malagas, Morocco, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, Somalia, Tanzania, and Zaire. Organization of African Union, which we call today AU. It provided one ambassador who was Mbita, who was executive secretary of the OAU. So these were countries. I've said Zambia, Botswana, Libya, Malawi, Malagas, Morocco, Sierra Leone, Somalia, Tanzania, and Zaire. So 10 countries were involved in the investigation of the death of Chitepo. Then Organization of African Union provided its executive secretary, who was known as Mbita. He was Lieutenant Colonel Mbita, who became part of 11th in this commission of inquiry. So this was the countries which were involved in the investigation of Chitepo. So we are going to look at the witnesses who were called, list of witnesses who testified during the inquiry. There were 41 witnesses who testified on the death of Chitepo. Among the 41 were Bishop Abel Muzorewa, Joshua Nkomo, Reverend Nabaning Stole, James Robert Dambaza Chikerema, Dixon Mpundu, Simpson Victor Mutambanengwe, Musiani Kalekwa Simumba, Stanford Battle Mwenda, George Nyandoro, Andrew John Sengen, Cornelius Martin Ditima Sanyanga. Oh dear Christ, this guy again, Cornelius Martin Ditima Sanyanga, John Hughes Remba, John Landa Nkomo, Obed Majgandu, Mukudzei Mudzi, Richard Hove, Joseph Amudiwane Muchabaiwa, Amudiwane Muchabaiwa Masangu Mai. So let me say Joseph Masangu Mai, familiar name. There was Samuel Geza, Stanley Garikai Parirewa, Stanley Garikai Parirewa. Then there was Chemist Nyue. This old man is still alive. Chemist Nyue is very alive. I read about him sometime. He's still around. Cornelius Sanyanga is still around. Amenana Parirewa. So there was this Mdara Chemist Nyue is still alive. And same Chandawa, Peter Sheba, Josiah Magama Tongogara, Daniel Chilonda Nkwaso, Daniel Chilonda Nkwaso, Jefferson Mawere, Reverend Nyamuroa, Washington Malianga, Kumbira Ikangai, Rugare Gumbo, Mutuku Anskowera Hamadziripi, Mrs. Victoria Chitepo, the wife of the deceased, Chikupo Shumba Chigowe, Alec Dovi, Martin Constantine Mulopa, Judah Mulomba, Abia Joseph Sweet, Mark Chuunyu Chona, Sadat Kufa Mazuva, Robson Manyika, Joseph Chimrenga. These were 41 witnesses called during the commission of inquiry. So most of these, then there are names of witnesses who were represented by counsel. Some people who were represented by solicitors. Mukudzei Mudzi was represented by Miss Beatrice Lusaka, Samuel Gedza, represented by Beatrice, Josiah Magama Tongogara was represented by Beatrice Ngonomo. This was a solicitor, Beatrice Ngonomo. Kumbira Kangai was represented again by Beatrice. Rugare Gumbo was represented by Beatrice Ngonomo. Henry Amadziripi was represented by Philip Banda of Banda and Company. Then Chikupo Chigowe was represented by Beatrice Ngonomo. Alec Dovi was represented by Mr. George Walisiko. Then Sadat Kafamazuba was represented by Beatrice Ngono. Robson Manyika was represented by George Walisco. Then Joseph Chimrenga was represented by George Walisco. So there is something here that Yurugare Gumbo was represented. Joseph Chimrenga was represented. Robson Manyika was represented. I can't see Tongogara here being represented. Yeah, Tongogara was represented. Tongogara, Kangai, Rugare Gumbo. This were not Amadziri. Tongogara, Kangai, na Gumbo, Rugare Gumbo. They were represented by the same lawyer. Then we go on to Robson Manyika, Joseph Chimrenga. Vakanga were represented again by the same lawyer. So, as Yuda, Ngoma Victor Lakama, Jiri saying. So, this is the list of witnesses who attended. Ndirakuti kana discuss wanu musazonyanyo ufunduka uningaka vane kupi. So I've given you a list of witnesses who testified commission yoyo, and some of these witnesses, especially Tongogara, was represented. Murugare Gumbo, still alive, was represented. Manyika Robson, although dead, was represented. Why would they? Let's critically read. Apana pa mambonzo pataurwa nenyaya dzaChiwenga. Chiwenga apana. Apana pa manzo pataurwa nyaya dza ED Mnangagwa. Apana. Anditi manzwa. Pataurwa nyaya muna aripo apa ukuuraya vanhu musuno ndi Cornelius Sanyanga. Sanyanga, I think he's still alive. Anofana kwari ndiye akadeploya masoja on the 1st of August 2018 to assassinate protesters. So these were the witnesses which were called by this 3 minutes asara. Okay, I'll be quick because I have to serialize. So let me say, Appendix 3, Zimbabwe, a declaration of unity made at Lusaka, Republic of Zambia on the 7th of December 1974. ZANU, ZAPU, Flores, and ANC hereby agreed to unite in the ANC. The parties recognize the ANC as the unifying force of the people of Zimbabwe. They agree to consolidate the leadership of the ANC by an illusion by the inclusion into it of the presidents of ZANU, ZAPU, and Flores under the chairmanship of the president of the ANC. ZAPU, ZANU, and Flores shall each appoint 3 other persons to join the enlarged ANC executive. Mkoma Devi, how are you? Atete Roda, Magadi. The enlarged ANC executive shall have the following functions: to prepare for any conference for the transfer of power to the majority that might be called, to prepare for the holding of a congress within 4 months at which a revised ANC constitution shall be adopted. The leadership of the United People of Zimbabwe shall be elected A state of policy for the new ANC will be included to organize the people for such conference and congress. This was a Zimbabwe declaration of unity which was made in Lusaka. The leadership of ZAPU, ZANU, and Flores call upon their supporters and all Zimbabweans to rally behind the ANC under its enlarged executive. ZAPU, ZANU, and Flores will take steps to merge their respective organs and structure into the ANC before the Congress to be held within 4 months. The leadership recognized the inevitability of continued armed struggle and all other forms of struggle until the total liberation of Zimbabwe. This was signed by Bishop Tendekai Muzorewa, president of ANC. And it was also signed by Ndabaningi Stole, president of ZANU. Signed by Joshua Mkabukonkomu, president of ZAPU. Signed by James Chikerema, president of Flores. This was done in Lusaka, 7th of December, 1974. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's now an hour into this presentation. So, I am going to cut this presentation and launch it again for the second phase. Thanks, Ngoma Yuda. History ndizo make records. We are making records straight, Max. That's what we are going. So don't go away. I am going to cut this presentation and come with part 2 of it. So don't go away. Don't go away. Stay tuned. Don't go away.